carrots. So I have it partitioned out just with some twine. It's my own version of a square foot method here in the Vegepod. The next one that I'm gonna sow is purple dragon carrot. This one is from Baker Creek. And then this one, oh, look at that. Look at how big they are. So they won't grow that big in our Vegepod. I'm gonna show you the reservoir. I mean, it's deep and I have grown carrots successfully like in the Vegepod, but you see that? That's like a 12-inch reservoir there. So it's not gonna grow to its full size in here, but I'll just pull it sooner. I really wanna get an idea of the flavor, and I'm also just like anxious to try it out. So I'm gonna let them grow as big as they can grow here in the Vegepod and probably pull them prior to the maturity date. So you might be surprised to learn that I do not surface sow my carrots. I actually, I grow my carrots mostly in these Vegepods here, and it's filled with potting soil that's really light and really fluffy. So I haven't had an issue with like burying them just with like the teeniest layer of potting soil on top. I literally just like stick my finger in and indent it a little bit and then cover it with the slightest bit of soil. I know it probably doesn't even show up on camera, but it's not a big little hole at all that I put these carrot seeds in, and I do not broadcast them and then thin them out as needed because I can't bear the thought of wasting carrot seeds like that way. So what I end up doing is like putting, 4 around where I want them to be, around 6 inches apart, and then just like thinning them out as they come up 4 inches apart. It's worked out for me. I tried the broadcasting method and it worked fine, but I just felt like I knew I wasn't going to see them that close. So what am I doing? Why am I doing that? I don't know. All right. So I am drying my professional drying mechanism. My hands get carrot seeds, guys. If you've never sown carrots, they're like teeny tiny and they just can get lost in the shuffle. So look at that. I don't even know if you can see that, but they're so tiny, and these aren't cheap. This variety is not cheap. I love Baker Creek, but they sell really unusual varieties, so you do pay for it. I mean, it's free shipping and they give you a free seed variety with every order, so that's a plus. But I do think to a certain extent that the cost of shipping is probably somewhat built into the cost of what the seed packet costs. So I don't know if you can see that, but they're just like the tiniest seeds. So I'm just gonna take like 4 or so and just sow them here. I'm gonna pick one 6 inches this way and do that. Do that again here. And then do that again back here. And just cover it with just like the slightest bit of soil. I don't know how this method would work if you had like a thicker, heavier soil. I don't necessarily know that I recommend that to everyone, but if you have a Vegepod and you're a little bit scared about the maintenance, or like, I don't know, just losing some carrot seeds from surface sowing like a lot of people do, I would try just like either laying them out and like, sprinkling a little bit of soil on top. Like I don't have an issue with germination in mine. So I'm going to teach you guys what I do for my root crops here in the Vegepod. Okay. So you see here how the reservoir goes like that, and then it goes up, and then it comes up like that. That means that this part right here, like that, and that's the deepest part of the Vegepod. And then you have the most shallow part right here, and right here. So when I just sowed those big long carrots from Baker Creek, the ones that want to get like 2 feet long, I made sure to position them right in the middle of this little reservoir here, just because I know that they're going to grow taller than many other carrot varieties want to be getting. And I wanted to make sure that they had the best chance possible at getting the longest possible. I know they're not going to get the 2 or 3 feet in here. Well, they might, but they might grow through the bottom of the Vegepod. But I don't really want to have to deal with that. So I'm gonna pull them prior to that. But that's how I do it. I sow them very strategically. I don't do that with all my carrots or all my root crops. Just literally this really long variety of carrot is the first time that I really had to think about that. But if you have anything that wants to grow really deep and you have a Vegepod, that's one suggestion for you, is to try to position them in the deepest part of the bed, because I did have one carrot last year that hit the shallow part, and it'll still grow and it'll taste delicious, but they won't be perfectly straight. I had one where it was really long, so the tip of it like bent this way, and I could tell it was because I had it planted like in the shallow part of the bed. So you will still get carrots. They'll still be as long as you would if you had planted them in the deep part, but they will be like a little crooked. So the next thing is the purple dragon. These actually don't need to be 6 inches apart. They can be 2 to 3 inches apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and pre-destine where I'm gonna seed each one of them. All right, so the big long carrots from Baker Creek are right here. So I'm gonna come out just a little bit and start right here and go every 2 inches roundabouts. All right. So here I'm gonna do like 3 for each one. Each little predestined hole I have here. Okay, so another example of this is Black Nebula and Oxheart. So the Oxheart wants to get, not as long as the Black Nebula. The Black Nebula can get a little bit longer. So I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna position them in my square foot method, like where I'm choosing to pick them, like on the left or the right. So this right here is the little square foot that I have designated for these carrots. When you see where it lines up, see that? It lines up here. That means probably on the right side of this square foot here, right around here is where the deepest part is gonna be. So I'm gonna pick the right side, excuse me, for the Black Nebula, and I'm gonna pick the left side for the Oxheart. Get in there. I'm not wasting any seeds, guys. I'm gonna put 3 in each hole. Done. Now I'm gonna do the Black Nebula. And so what you might also see me doing when I'm messing with the dirt is, even when I create holes, if I'm not sure if it's too deep for the carrot, what I will do is I will put some in the hole that maybe is a little too deep, and I'll scoot a little bit of soil in on top, like as a layer, but not all the way backfill it. And then I'll put another carrot seed a little bit higher on top. So I might put 2 in the hole a little bit deeper. And then just in case it's too deep, I'll put another carrot seed on top, just to make sure that none of them are too deep and that I have, 100% germination. Final carrot that I'm going to be sowing in the Vegepod right now are Uzbek, and I don't know how to pronounce this, Courgette, not sure, but it's a beautiful, like creamy, it's like an almost white carrot. I did not have luck at all in my Vegepod last year with Lunar White. I'm not sure if I did something wrong with it, like if it was user error or something with the Vegepod that's specific to Lunar White, or maybe I didn't leave it in long enough, but it struggled so much. I mean, they weren't even the size or the thickness of my pinky. It was bad. They were small, and the rest of my carrots like thrived, because y'all know I have a thing with carrots. But so I decided to give this one a try. It has better reviews on the Baker Creek website, and just like overall looks a little bit hardier and a little bit thicker and bigger. So I do want to try to grow a lot of specialty carrots that are unusual, either color or shape or whatever the case may be, length. So this one is going to be fun. And Uzbek is pretty too because it's this yellow one. And if you guys get Baker Creek seeds, you need to get the whole seed catalog, because I don't know if it's in the free one, but I have both the free one and the paid one. And at least in the paid one, they have a beautiful story about the Uzbek carrot, and their pictures just make you want to buy all their seeds. I don't know about y'all, but I'm a sucker for photography, and I'm like a marketing person's dream because I love all the fun pictures. So I'm gonna try to zoom in and show you guys what I mean when I say that I sort of lasagna layer my seeds just in case they're too deep, because I don't like to surface sow. It's more maintenance, and it's just like makes me nervous. And I have different varieties going, so if they blow away and stuff, and I don't want to put a plank on top of it or anything. So I'm gonna see if I can get it to focus, and so you can see what I'm talking about when I layer my seeds just in case. And some of them will sprout at different times because of that. So some of them that are higher up in the top layer of the lasagna, so to speak, they'll germinate quicker, and so after that you'll see some sprout, and you can let them grow if you're afraid the first one's gonna not be a strong seedling, but eventually I just thin them down to one. Okay, so if you can see here, my finger's like underneath the soil. That's probably a little too deep. So I just fix them after I mark where I want them. I sort of just fix them and make them not so deep. But what I'm gonna do, I'll give you an example, is I'll put in like 2 there, and then I'll scoot some soil on top, but not all the way. And then I'll put another one closer to the surface like that. And I'll just put like the tiniest bit of soil on top. That way I know no matter what, either the ones that are deeper in or the ones that are on top, something is going to germinate. So that's what I mean. I'm gonna demonstrate that for you again on the second one. Okay, you guys see this right here? This is like that deep. It's probably a little too deep. So I just like fix it a little bit. And then I'll put in 2 right in here, and it's a little bit deeper, but that's okay. I put 2 in. I scoot some more soil, and then I might put like 1 or 2 more on top. That way I know no matter what, whether it's the one that's deeper or the one that's higher up, something's gonna germinate. Now, when you go to water your seedlings in a veggie pod, particularly with the carrots, and especially if you're growing a bunch of different varieties of the same type of vegetable like I am here, I'm growing a bunch of different varieties of carrot, I just recommend doing it on the mister setting, because otherwise it is potting soil. It's light and fluffy in here in the veggie pod, which means that you can easily move around soil and mix your seedlings. So you know, you might accidentally thin out all of one variety by accident because they all moved around to one side, and so you end up with a lot of one variety and none of another. Or you just like move them all to the same spot. You know, they all puddle in the same spot if you go too hard in another type of setting. So this is already pre-moistened. So this is just me letting the seed sort of settle in. And I'm also using the mist setting for the late Nagasaki that I just transplanted from my winter sowing. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Just very lightly at the roots. Okay. They flop over a little bit when you transplant them. And some of them really honestly might not make it, but that's kind of normal. I hope that they sort of strengthen up a little bit in the process. What I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna close this first. Oh, I almost forgot my favorite carrot, guys. I almost forgot to sow my favorite carrot. So my favorite carrot as of now is New Carota. Let me get the seed packet for you. Oh, I don't have the pretty one. Okay. So sometimes Baker Creek will send you the plain packets like this, and sometimes they'll send you the pretty one. This one happens to be a plain packet, but that's okay. New Carota is great, guys. I did a video on it on my YouTube channel already. It's heat tolerant. It powers through clay soil. it is the one that I sow. Like, I can experiment with all these other ones, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It's fun. It's an experiment. That's fine. But I still always want something, you know, some kind of harvest at the end of the day. And with that, I always plant new Carota. So I'm experimenting with all these other kinds of carrots here. But when it comes down to it, I'm going to sow some of these in the front of the bed, because I know no matter what, these are going to be successful for me. So Baker Creek sells these. I know Botanical Interest sells them, but they have a different name. I think they go by, I think it's Japanese. So I think it's like Shin Carota or something. Shin means new. So I messaged them about this on Instagram, and their response was, it is the variety new Carota. It's just like a different name because Shin means new. So I'm gonna sow the new Carota right in between the strawberry plants in the front of the bed. And the reason that I'm doing it this way is because I had great success with planting these in this part of the bed before. I'll insert some footage of a video of my daughter and I basically geeking out over the fact that, oh, wait a minute, I don't think you can see me. Geeking out over the fact that we had our first carrot harvest in the Vegepod, and we just had such a great time with it. And it was right here in the front of the bed. I don't know if it's because it's sunnier or whatnot, but we just had a grand old time doing this. And it was right here in between these strawberry plants. So I don't know, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
Can I open this?
all right, wait. We got carrots. Okay. Go ahead and pull it up. I see the bountiful harvest. Watch it be all little. It's not coming up? Hold on. That's actually a decent carrot. Look at that.
Now let's put some.
That's beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the other one now? I'm sure you're excited. Hold on 1 second. Are you excited for the next one, Sophie?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You gotta pull them. You gotta use all your hands. Look at that. Oh, that's a perfect carrot too. Look at that. Nice and big. So it's all planted up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close it up, and maybe for the first day I'll put the winter cover on, just not for the sake of the carrots, but for the sake of those winter sown greens that I transplanted prematurely, to see if I can give them a fighting chance and put the winter cover on to sort of mimic the environment that it had inside of those containers. Don't know if it's gonna work, but we'll find out. So they are all tucked in, as you can see. My next project is I'm probably gonna sow some beets in here. I have some cilantro inside a salad container that I did as like a modified winter sowing, and I put it inside the Vegepod to provide additional insulation. I'm probably just gonna move that to the side a little bit and sow some beets in there, because as you can see, I have a bunch of projects going in the backyard. It's kind of a mess. Right here is where this raised bed is gonna go, but I just put the hardware cloth here. I just installed that. I put a video up on my Instagram about that. And I have to put landscape fabric all here, and then put the bed in there, and then cut out like where the bed is gonna be, so it's like all soil underneath there. I don't want any of the fabric to be underneath where the bed is, because I want the roots to be able to access the soil, like the natural soil that I have in my yard. And I also want like earthworms and stuff to be able to access it. So it's gonna be a process. Here, the front of the house, that's the front. We're gonna get new gates put in there. We're gonna have a new gate put in there in the front of the house. when we do the back gate eventually, all this is going to change, because this is actually an old shed that the old owner put in here. It's not on our property, you guys. I don't think so. So we're just going to take that out. It's old and we can't really use it for much. So it's going to go out, and we're going to just put a white vinyl fence here. We're going to replace that door to the shed, and this right here is where my new hobby greenhouse that is 10 by 12 is going to go. So this area is going to change drastically, and it's kind of ugly right now. It's got cardboard, because I'm saving all my big things of cardboard for when I put down my cedar bed. So if you see a big mess in the background, it's because there is a big mess in the background. But you know, gardens are a work in progress, and it is what it is. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I gotta get inside. My hands are cold. It's cold out here in New Jersey right now. All right,